Let's have a look at making a truss tape for this truss here. First thing to do is make sure that everything associated with this truss has got the correct position name. That includes multi-ways and spare ways. So we've already set all of those to truss A. Good way to check. Select one unit. And you've got the auto plot. Select by position example. Command Option S. Command 6 to zoom to selected. And that's exactly what I'd like to see there. Everything selected. Next up is to set the user fields. So, user fields, you've got 6 of them per instrument, and this is the setup I use. User field 1, I leave blank. User field 2 is the mode of the fixture. That'll appear on the truss tape. User field 3 is the fixing, so if the unit has a hook clamp, a half coupler, whether it's on the floor, that won't appear on the truss tape, but I will send that into the hire shop to indicate how to prep the units. User field 4 are the rigging notes. This is if the unit is to be overhung, hung on a scaff cord, scaff bar, anything unusual that you'd like to see when you're rigging that lamp, and that will appear on the truss tape. User field 5 is the orientation, so front to stage, cable to stage left, however you like to indicate how that unit is to be rigged. And user field 6 is the truss cord. This is the field that Lightning Tapes uses to work out which cord of the truss to indicate to hang the lamp. So I'll pop back. I've already gone through and I've added the modes, the fixings, and the orientation to these units. So the next up is to indicate which cord they're on. Truss tapes needs to know which cord they're on so it can allocate the arrows on the tapes themselves when you build one tape per truss. I tend to always work to this model you see here, even if there is no stage or if the stage is off to the side. So I imagine on my plan the stage is at the top, up stage is at the very top, down stage below. Horizontal truss is in line with the stage, a vertical truss is perpendicular to the stage, and a diagonal is a diagonal. The other option you have are circular trusses, which I haven't detailed here. So the only options in this instance, the truss cords, is horizontal downstage or upstage, vertical downstage or upstage, diagonal downstage or upstage. So let's go and set those. First off, I tend to just set everything to the same, so select one unit, Command Option S, and I'm going to set all of those to the horizontal truss to the downstage cord. That way, all of my multis and spare ways will be read from the downstage side of the truss. Now I'm going to select up all the units that are on the upstage cord, and I'm going to set those to upstage. Now I'm going to open up the template I've made. I've got my truss tapes template here, and there we are. Back into here. And I'm going to select up. First thing that's worth knowing, what I'm going to do is copy our lights into the template file. Something to be aware of here is Lightning Tapes uses the user origin as the datum for the truss tape. So this one's nice and easy because I'd like to have the datum as the centre of the truss, and that's centred over 00. If you have other trusses that are not centred over your 0 mark, I'd suggest taking a copy of your plan, and then before you copy each truss, grab the user origin and move that to wherever you would like the datum to be for that truss, and then copy those fixtures across, and then move the datum again before copying the next set. And in this instance, we're just going to leave that right there. So let's select up all of those units, copy those, and let's come across to the template, and we're going to use paste in place, or Command Option V. When this comes up, just make sure you've got keep and use the existing format, and do this action for all name conflicts. Click OK, and OK to the visibilities dialog. And here we go, Command 6 just to zoom to those. As we can see, they've been pasted into the document and they've centered up over the 0 mark as you would hope. Next up, we need to tell Lightning Tapes about the truss cord setup. So we're going to go into Window, Untitled 7 is the document we're working on, Worksheets, Position Setup. This worksheet here, I'm going to click File and Recalculate All Worksheets. And our truss A comes through with our user field 6 notes, and we're just going to line those up here. So horizontal downstage and horizontal upstage. When you're done, just close that, and we're ready to run the plugin. Don't need to have those selected. Up to Truss Tapes, Run Lightning Tapes plugin. Now we want to do a create truss tape by position. By chord, we'll create 2 tapes per truss. I prefer to have 1. Click OK. And there we go. So let's just pop along our truss tape and have a look at how that's laid out. See for the zoom tool, and I'm just going to zoom over the end there. I find the multi-ways tend to need to be laid out a little bit tidier, so I'm just going to pop along and do that. And then just use the arrow key to work my way along that truss tape. Make sure nothing's laying over the top of each other. Just tidy up these a bit. When I get to centre, within my favourites, I've got some truss tape notes here, and I'm going to pop a couple of those on just to help us when we're laying out this truss on site. Select both of those up into the Data tab, and I'm just going to edit the truss name and set the date into the centre line for this truss. Just keep working along that truss. There we go, there's a socket on top of another light. Same again. Great, looking good. Next up, we're going to pop this truss into a sheet layout. So I've got a sheet layout template I've made here. I'm going to duplicate that, edit the name, and I'm going to call that Truss A. And then with that viewport selected, I'm going to pop into the visibilities, class visibilities within the object info palette. And we're going to pop down here, and we're just going to find our Lightning Tapes Truss A, and we're going to turn that on. Zoom in a bit there, we can see that's popped up now in the viewport. Last thing we need to do is set the print area. Now I know the edges of this is about 6 meters from center, so it's a 12-meter tape. So we're going to pop into page setup. So each horizontal page is a meter. I'm going to make this 13 meters just so it's got a little bit of overhang on each end. Click OK. Line forward into the page, and there we go. We've got our tape ready to print.